Today, we're diving into a really fascinating and honestly pretty intense ancient Buddhist scripture, the Sutra on Naraka. It grapples with morality and consequence in this incredibly graphic way, painting one of the most vivid pictures of hell ever conceived. So, let's take a journey into its depths. But before we get into the text itself, let's just start with a question that's at the very heart of it all, one we all probably think about. If our actions really do have consequences, just how far do they echo? What's the ultimate result of the choices we make every single day? Well, this ancient text gives a powerful and, frankly, a terrifying answer to that question. It's not just some simple list of warnings. Think of it more like a detailed, vivid map of the afterlife, arguing that every single choice, every word, every deed leads you down a very specific path. What's so interesting is that, according to this sutra, the journey to suffering doesn't start after you die. Nope. The text is very clear that the consequences of your actions begin right here in this life through something it calls the three sorrows. So what are they? Well, first up is worry, that gnawing anxiety you feel when you know you've done something wrong. Second, there's mental anguish. That's the fear you get when you see other people being punished for their crimes and you think, man, that could be me. And finally, it all culminates in physical pain, especially at the moment of death, with these awful, tormenting visions of what's about to come. And the sutra gets super specific about what leads you down this path. It lists out what it calls the 10 evil acts. And these range from the really obvious stuff, like killing and stealing, to the more subtle things, like how we use our words, lying, divisive speech, and even our states of mind, like greed, jealousy, and maybe most importantly, a disbelief that your actions even matter at all. Okay, so after death, the journey takes a really dramatic turn. The soul is brought before the judge of the underworld, King Yama. But this isn't just a simple sentencing. It's this profound interrogation where the sinner has to confront their own life, face to face. Yama kicks things off with these simple but really piercing questions. He starts with something everyone has seen. He asks, "Did you not see the old and frail in the world, their hair white and bodies bent?" And the sinner's reply is always the same. It's this stark, simple confession. I saw them, but I was foolish and arrogant. There are no excuses, no trying to get out of it, just a direct admission that they failed to learn from what they saw. Yamada just keeps going, his questions building on each other. Did you not see the sick, people suffering and helpless? Again, he's hammering home this point. Were you paying attention? Did you learn anything from the suffering that's all around us? And again, the same answer comes back. I was foolish and arrogant. And then comes the final question. This is the big one, the one that gets to the absolute core of the whole argument. He asks, did you not see the dead, their bodies decaying? Seeing all of this, aging, sickness, and death, why didn't you turn to good? With the interrogation over, King Yama delivers his verdict, and it is a masterclass in personal responsibility. He makes it crystal clear. This isn't anyone else's fault, not your parents, not your rulers, not your teachers. The bottom line is, your own actions have brought you here. And from there, the soul is cast into Naraka. But this place isn't about random punishment. No, the sutra describes a realm where every single torment is a direct, metaphorical reflection of the sin itself. It's all about cause and effect. But first, the text needs us to understand the sheer scale of the suffering here. It asks you to imagine the pain of being stabbed by 300 spears at once. I mean, that's unimaginable, right? Well, according to this text, that level of agony is basically nothing compared to the suffering in Naraka. To really drive this point home, it uses this incredible metaphor. It says the pain of those 300 spears is like a small pebble in your hand. But the pain of just a moment in Naraka, that's like the great Mount Tai, this massive, sacred mountain. The comparison is meant to be completely mind-boggling, to show that our concept of pain on Earth is just a tiny shadow of what's being described. So the journey begins in a place called the Iron City. It's this massive fortress, thousands of miles wide, and everything, the walls, the ground, the ceiling, it's all made of red-hot iron, with these huge flames constantly leaping from one wall to the other, just engulfing everything inside. And this is where the karmic logic gets really specific. The punishments aren't just random. If you got rich by cheating people with food and drink, you're forced to drink molten copper. If you hurt other people with your actions, you have to climb mountains made of knives. If you killed animals, well, you get eaten by iron-beaked birds. See? Every punishment is a direct, poetic reflection of the crime. And through every single one of these horrific descriptions, the sutra repeats this haunting, chilling refrain. After being burned or torn apart, the soul is instantly reborn right back into the same torment. Because, as the text says, the evil karma is not yet exhausted, and so one does not die. The suffering just goes on until the debt is paid. Now, after hearing about these seemingly endless cycles of torment, you might be thinking there's no hope at all. But the sutra does offer a way out. It just frames it as one of the most improbable, almost impossible, events in the entire cosmos. So the big question is, after these unimaginable lengths of time suffering, is escape even on the table? The answer is yes, but the odds are absolutely staggering. To illustrate just how rare it is, the Buddha uses this famous parable. Imagine a massive, endless ocean. At the very bottom, there's a blind sea turtle, and it only comes up to the surface for a breath of air once every 100 years. Now, floating somewhere on this huge ocean is a single wooden log with a single hole in it, just big enough for the turtle's head to fit through. So what are the chances that this blind turtle, surfacing just once a century, is going to pop its head through that one specific hole in that one specific log? The odds are practically zero. But the Buddha says it could happen. And here's the kicker. A soul escaping hell to be reborn as a human being is an even rarer event than that. The whole point is to show just how unbelievably precious and rare a human life is. And this really brings us to the ultimate purpose of the entire text. It's not just some cosmic horror story. It's a moral framework. It's a guide for how to live your life using this vision of the afterlife as a powerful, powerful motivation to do good. For those impossibly lucky souls who finally pay their debt and escape Niraka, King Yama gives them one last piece of advice as they leave. And it's a simple, positive instruction for their new life. Be good to your parents, respect the wise, and most importantly, straighten your mind, your speech, and your body. So in the end, this incredibly detailed map of a spiritual underworld, it turns out it's really a map for us, for the living. It isn't just about what comes next. Its core message is a question for us, right here, right now, knowing that every choice we make has a consequence. How are we choosing to live?